When it comes to luxury vehicles that you can purchase new and drive for a very long time, the Lexus LX is one of the few luxury vehicles out there where you can actually do that. Remember, this vehicle was introduced back in 1995 as essentially the Toyota Land Cruiser in a Gucci suit, because as you guys know, this is the flagship vehicle for the Lexus brand. Now, last year, we saw Lexus introduce an all-new version of the LX, moving it to its fourth generation and building it on the redesigned Series 300 Land Cruiser that we don't technically get here in the US in a Toyota badge. So as you can see, this week we are testing out the 2023 Lexus LX 600 with the luxury package painted in this gorgeous shade of Nori Green Pearl. As you guys know, this is still the flagship luxury SUV in the Lexus lineup. It's the most expensive, the most capable, and also the most luxurious in terms of the interior. So this week we're going to live with this LX 600 luxury. We're going to put it through our usual battery of tests at the end of this video. We're going to find out, has Lexus managed to carry on that legendary torch that Land Cruisers have had for decades? Stay tuned to find out. Now, before we start talking about the exterior styling of this 2023 Lexus LX, I want to pop the hood and remind you guys what's powering this thing, because when you see the badge LX 600, you probably assume it has like a 6-liter V8. Sadly, Lexus has gone away from those numbers actually meaning the displacement, so now we have a twin turbocharged V6 under the hood. And if you guys are familiar with the current crop of Toyota and Lexus products, this is a really good engine that's replacing the old thirsty but proven 5.7-liter iForce V8. This is now a 3.4-liter twin-turbo direct injection V6, making up to 409 horsepower and 479 pound-feet of torque. That's an increase of about 30 horsepower compared to the old V8. It also has 20 more horsepower versus this engine's tune in the all-new Toyota Tundra. It all goes out through a 10-speed automatic transmission, and fuel economy is rated at 17 in the city, 22 on the highway. That's a big improvement over like the 14, 17 that you got with the old V8 engine, which again was a proven but very thirsty engine. There is no upgrade engine currently for 2023, although there's rumors that Lexus has trademarked the LX 600H name in Canada, which means we could be getting the iForce Max powertrain that's under the hood of the Sequoia and the Tundra with that hybrid powertrain, so I'll be looking forward to seeing what Lexus will do. Now, in terms of 0 to 60 performance, Lexus claims 6.9 seconds. It'll reach a top speed of around 130 miles an hour, and this is a truck-based SUV, so it'll tow a maximum of 8,000 pounds, and because it's a truck, it's still a heavy vehicle, but Lexus did reduce the weight of this generation by about 400 pounds, so as this one sits, it weighs in at around 5,600 pounds. But let's go ahead and close up the hood and talk about the exterior styling. Now, this model here is a little different versus the one that I showed you guys last year. I really love this color combination. First of all, you're probably noticing the big Lexus spindle grille looks a lot better on this model, and that's because it has an appearance package. For $1,300, it essentially blacks out all the silver elements here and gives you kind of like this matte finish gray with the piano black accents. And then being a luxury trim, it comes standard with the company's signature premium triple beam LED headlights with LED daytime running lights, and you also have LED fog lights down here. A lot of the vents here are functional. Keep in mind, this model here doesn't have the F-Sport handling package, so it doesn't have that, you know, grille with the intricate L's that forms like a mesh finish. I actually much prefer this over the S-Sport body style because I think this looks more appropriate given the LX's mission. This is not a sporty vehicle, but it definitely gives it some presence on the road. And as you guys know, it's built on the latest TNGA F architecture, or Global Architectural F platform, that also underpins the new Tundra. Now, moving around to the side profile of the vehicle, you can see the LX is definitely still a big car, but this is no longer the biggest SUV in Lexus's lineup. That now belongs to the Lexus TX at 200.5 inches long. The TX is about 3 inches longer than this LX, and its wheelbase is still 112.2 inches long. Lexus stresses the fact that that 112-inch long wheelbase is the perfect length, although for me, I actually kind of think Lexus should have lengthened it because it does affect the interior space of this car, and it also makes it look a little ungainly because the body lines have definitely gotten longer. This vehicle's height is around 74 inches tall. It's around 78.5 inches wide, so it's about 4 inches taller than a Lexus TX, but it's around the same width. Now you can see the wheels. This luxury trim comes with these beautiful looking 22-inch wheels with the machine and two-tone look. With the multiple spokes, you have a 13.1-inch front rotor with it looks like a twin piston black painted Lexus caliper, and then the rear is actually bigger at nearly 14 inches. You have an independent front suspension. My tester, for an extra $1,200, has the hydraulic adjustable suspension where you can raise and lower the vehicle at the touch of a button. It'll actually raise it 2 inches or lower it 2 inches, which definitely gives us more off-road capability. Of course, you can see I like the wheel arch moldings, how they're actually painted. The appearance package also blacks out the side mirrors here. You have integrated turn signals. These are also power folding. And then you also have black painted side or door handles and then black window trim. The roof rails are also blacked out. Unfortunately, Lexus does not offer a panoramic sunroof, which I think they should have considered. My tester also has a running board, which is a nice addition to help getting into this tall vehicle. And then moving at the rear of the vehicle, I love the boxy shape with the newer Lexus design elements. This is one of the first Lexus vehicles, of course, to get their new Lexus logo at the back where it spells out Lexus. It's got that full LED light blade, that signature look. You can see it's got the LX600 badge here to show that it has the twin turbo V6. Again, that has nothing to do with the engine displacement. And then down here on the rear diffuser, you can see there is a full-size spare with a matching alloy. The exhaust tip is hidden underneath there. You have well-integrated parking sensors. And then in terms of the cargo area, the old, I believe, swing-out tailgate has been replaced obviously by a traditional one. And you can see here, this vehicle does come standard with a third row seat. However, the third row is definitely meant for small children, very, very small children. In fact, when you have the third row up, there's very little cargo space in here. You only get 11 cubic feet of storage space. 11 is really pitiful. Now, of course, obviously you can fold down this third row, which is actually a power folding third row. So you basically just have to come over here, push that button here, and it looks like it's actually not one touch. You have to continue holding that button, which is kind of annoying. But when you do fold down the third row, it does expand the cargo capacity here to around 44 cubic feet of space. Now, 44 is actually a good amount. That's around 10 more cubic feet than what you're going to find in something like the Lexus RX. Of course, if you fold down the second row, it'll actually expand it out to 64 cubic feet of space. That sounds like a lot until you look at Lexus's own TX. The TX offers up to 97 cubic feet of space with all the seats folded. So again, if you're looking for the most in terms of cargo practicality, the LX is certainly not going to be that vehicle for you. Underneath here, there is a little bit of a teeny tiny bit of storage. You can see there's kind of like the tools to replace the tire and whatnot. You do have a power outlet back here, but you don't get the ability to kind of raise and lower the suspension back here. But overall, you can see most people will probably have the seat down. And when you have it in this configuration, the LX does have a pretty good amount of space. So let's go ahead and move on to the interior of this 2023 Lexus LX600. Now, before we hop inside, let me show you guys the key fob. You can see here's the current Lexus Intelligent Access key. It has your usual lock, unlock, power liftgate, and panic functions. There is also a remote start function. If you tap this lock button 3 times in sequence and then hold it on the 3rd time, it'll actually remote start the engine. This model here is not available with the Lexus digital key function, so you can't use your smartphone as a key. Unfortunately, it kind of shows a little bit of the age for the LX. Now, unlike some other Lexus models where they have that digital latch door handle, this model here has a traditional door handle. There's a little sensor there. If you touch that with the key on you, it'll lock the door and fold the mirrors. Then as I approach the vehicle, I touch the back of this door handle. That'll unlock the door for you. I kind of appreciate the fact that it's a little bit more traditional. Now, this particular test car is the perfect color combination. This is exactly how I would buy this vehicle if I was going to get one for myself, with the nori green exterior, the white peppercorn semi-aniline perforated leather. These are heated and ventilated seats. They adjust in 12 different ways, and they also come with a 3-person memory on just the driver's side. Some competitors offer memory seats on the passenger side, which is a little frustrating, but you can see these seats have really, really plush leather. These are some of the softest, most supple seats I've ever sat in. Lexus just does a really good job with their seat material and just the padding of the seats. So if you guys are looking for comfortable seats, put this one at the very top of your list. Now you can see the door panel material here. On this upper portion, it's a soft touch injection molded plastic. I kind of wish that this beautiful leather here was actually stitched on this portion here, but there is leather over here. I love the black ash wood. You have the thematic ambient lighting where it has some ambient lighting on the door panels and on the dash and footwells. Nice padded over here. You have glossy plano black plastic. The window controls feel high quality and tactile with the metal finish. And this tester here has the 25 speaker Mark Levinson stereo. Down here, it is sadly hard touch plastic. I believe the older Lexus LX models had more soft touch materials there, but I love, again, the side sill that's illuminated. You have nice plush carpeting. And you can see here your power seat controls. They're all pretty logically laid out. It's really easy to use. Now, getting inside, you can see the running board is very helpful. There's a little grab handle here, so I can kind of hoist myself in. And then once you're in here, let me go ahead and shut the door, which has a really solid sounding thunk, some of the best that I've heard. There's also a soft close function where I can just kind of click the door and that'll actually close the door for you automatically. No automatic power closing doors, but again, you can't really get it all. That's why some competitors are nearly twice the price of this. Now the start stop button is mounted up high here. You can see when you start the vehicle up, it has kind of that older Lexus chime. And then you have 3 screens here. There's a 7-inch display here, which has a digital speedometer and tachometer. And then there's analog gauges to the side. You have a 12.3-inch display here with the Lexus interface infotainment system with wireless CarPlay and Android Auto and over-the-air updates. This is their newest system, although the screen is about 2 inches smaller than what you find in some other Lexus vehicles, which is funny. Down here you have another 7-inch helper screen where you can adjust some of the vehicle functions. You can show if the wheels, as you can see, are turned, where the air suspension is, and whatnot. So again, this is something that the Middle East wanted apparently. You can also go to your climate function here, which the graphics are fine. Some of you were saying that it looks like it's from 10 years ago. I kind of disagree. I think it definitely has a unique look to it, and I kind of appreciate the fact that Lexus wanted to limit the amount of buttons in this interior by going with another screen over here. Now you can see the luxury trim includes this 10-inch heads-up display, which is nice. You have padded upper dash here with the faux stitching. Over here along the instrument panel, it is hard touch plastic, but there's more soft leather around here and beautiful supple leather over here with real stitching, fake over here. There's also some aluminum trim. And then down here you can see your drive mode selectors here. You can see there's a total of 6 drive modes from Eco, Comfort, Normal, Sport, Sport Sharp, or Sport Plus, and then Custom. We'll try the different drive modes out when we're actually driving the vehicle. There's also a downhill assist and crawl control when you're actually off-roading. And then there's also a multi-terrain select where you can adjust from automatic, sand, mud, deep snow. This is all great stuff if you're actually planning to off-road. There's a full-time 4-wheel drive system where you can see this vehicle is in 4-wheel drive high all the time. You can also switch it to 4-wheel drive low. And it also has a locking center diff to really show, again, its Toyota Land Cruiser heritage. Now, over here you can see there's a little bit of storage over here where the ambient lighting, you have heated and cooled seats, an actual button, which is nice. So I put the vehicle into reverse. You can see there's your full top-down 360 camera, which gives you a good view. It gives you good graphics and resolution. It actually is color matched to the exterior of the vehicle, which is nice. You have front and rear parking sensors and rear cross traffic alert. This system here, as you can see, the wireless CarPlay is hooked up. It looks good. I think it's a good size, although I would like to see Lexus put in a 14-inch display here just because that's what they use in all their other products. Now, down here you can see more of that black ash wood trim. You have a wireless phone charging pad here, which surprisingly works well at charging my phone. That's something I've found problematic with other Toyota and Lexus products. You have a USB-C and a USB-A. Some of the thematic ambient lighting you can see, it shows up in this interior, but it's definitely a little bit plain. It's not quite as intricate or as theatrical as some Mercedes or Audi or BMW products, but Lexus wanted to go with a more softer, subtle look. Over here you can see it's a nice padded center console. Open this up, you can see there's some storage, but my tester actually has the cool box here. So if I turn that on, it actually starts blowing cold air into here. It's actually sealed off, so you can use this as a cooler. Love this function. It's standard on the luxury trim. I also love how it opens up on the other side as well, so the passenger can access to it, and you can hear when it shuts, it's very quiet. You don't hear the actual cooler going off, which is pretty cool. Above me here, you can see there's this really nice material, mouse fur material on the headliner. The seats, again, on the passenger side, very plush and comfortable. My favorite seats in this segment, probably. And then over here in the glove box, you can see it's damped but not laminated felt. It offers 2-tier storage. It offers a good amount of storage. It's decent. But some competitors, again, offer a little bit more storage space than this vehicle. You can see there's an auto-dimming rearview mirror, which is nice. No digital camera rearview mirror. I'm surprised to not see it on this car. It can use it because, as you can see, the headrest and the third row are kind of getting in the way. And then over here, you can see there's a power tilt telescoping steering wheel with paddle shifters, the horn. It sounds pretty nondescript, appropriate given the size of the vehicle. It doesn't have those touch-sensitive buttons that you get in other Lexus products where it controls the heads-up display. But overall, you can see the interior has a lot going for it. It definitely has a more interesting look, a more dated look, some of you are questioned, but you do have the latest infotainment system. I would like to see a fully digital display here. As you can see, everything else, the build quality is very tight. It smells nice in here, and it just feels really, really expensive. But let's go ahead and hop into the back seat so I can show you guys what the second and the third row space is like. You can see once you're back here, Lexus says that there's around 36.5 inches of legroom in this second row. You can see the beautiful white peppercorn semi-aniline leather is carried over. This seat also reclines back and forth. It doesn't slide forward. My tester also has the rear seat entertainment package. And then there are these real manual sunshades padded over here, more of that thematic ambient lighting, and you can see the black ash wood padded over here, which is nice. The Mark Levinson stereo, 25 speakers, and it sounds really, really good. Now you can see getting inside, there's a nice little handle here that helps you get in with the running board. As I get in, shut the door, you can see in terms of legroom space, this is where I'd have it to drive. This is definitely a little bit smaller than some competitors. I feel like some competitors offer as much as 4 more inches of legroom, and you're going to notice that. There's also a hump here that intrudes on the middle passenger, but the vehicle is wide enough to easily accommodate 3 across. You have dual zone or quad zone climate control along with heated and cooled seats in the second row, which is definitely nice. That's included with the luxury trim. And then you can see over here, rear seat air vents, which is nice. You have 2 storage cubbies. And then if you're looking for power outlets, you can see you have USB C's, and you have an HDMI port along with headphone jacks and a power outlet to control, again, the separate 10.25 or 10.5 inch displays. I personally would skip this and just get your kid an iPad, but you can basically stream your phone, stream video sources here, so you can watch movies and whatnot, which is nice. You can see there's an armrest here that folds down and gives you 2 cup holders, which is nice. And then again, the seats are still incredibly plush. You can actually see more of the thematic ambient lighting in here. In the rear, where it's kind of in the door pockets, you can change the color to, like, I think 60 different colors. So that's nice that they give you that kind of customization. But let's go ahead and hop into the third row for this vehicle, which, by the way, the third row you can access by just pushing this button. See, once you push that, it'll automatically push the seat up and then kind of catapult it forward, and then it reveals a little bit of space to get back into these basically jump seats. Now, as you can see, these are only 2 seats wide, and Lexus says there's around 39 or 31 inches of legroom back here, which 31 isn't a lot. You can see for somebody my height at 5'7", the high floor here is courtesy of that body on frame and the fact that it doesn't have an independent rear suspension. But you know what? For somebody my height, you can see my head, if I sit back, is definitely touching the ceiling. It's not great. I'm not very tall as well. Legroom space is okay. There's not really much in terms of foot space. I could sit back here on a shorter trip, maybe an hour or less. This would be fine. I definitely would start to feel it a little bit on longer trips. There could be room here to put a middle passenger, but again, it just has basically these 2 jump seats. At least Lexus puts in some rear seat air vents back here, which is nice. You also have the ability to kind of recline the seat forward and back because it's power adjustable. You also have a power outlet here, which is nice, along with cup holders, and over there as well, a little more storage. There's also a button here to fold that seat down, or you can also push that button. So overall, the third row isn't as hateful as some people have said, but keep in mind, if you're looking at a Yukon or an Escalade, this third row is definitely going to be on the small side. The Lexus TX is going to have a more adult-friendly third row than this, which I believe has around 2.5 more inches of legroom versus this LX600. So here we are, about a year later since the all-new 4th generation Lexus LX came out. Now remember, when this car first came out, it was the only way that you could get a Series 300 Land Cruiser in the States. Now, of course, the Land Cruiser name is now back, although it is now being built off of the Series 250 architecture, so it's technically, which is technically a Land Cruiser Prado architecture. So this model here, the 600, is currently the only engine offered. There's rumors of a 700H showing up at some point, which is going to offer the iForce Max hybrid powertrain, but let's go ahead and see what we can get in this model here with its twin turbo V6 and 10-speed auto. With standard 4-wheel drive, we have it in Sport Plus. We'll brake torque it. Lexus claims 6.9 seconds, but we just got 5.86 seconds in our usual testing here, which is plenty fast. That's practically a second faster than what Lexus claims, which is kind of surprising. Usually Lexus's numbers are conservative, or they're kind of right on the mark. So it's nice to see that this car is faster than what the company is claiming. And honestly, that power figure, that time is going to be good enough for most people. I mean, obviously, you can get faster SUVs in this class if you guys go for the high-performance versions of the Mercedes or the BMW, for example, but for most people, this engine's going to have everything you need. It's a smooth, refined, punchy, buttery engine that offers a ton of low-end torque. It's paired up with a smooth 10-speed automatic as well that I think is a great partner. Let's try it here really quick. This time, we're not going to brake torque it. We're just going to floor it and see what we can get. Really nice, crisp shifts. So 6.4 seconds there, and that's without brake torquing. That's what you're going to get in the real world. So when you brake torque it, also I'm slightly more uphill there. When you brake torque it, you should expect to shave off a couple tenths off of that 0 to 60 time, which again, that's not the point of a vehicle like this. Really, you're going to buy, I only do it for demonstration purposes, but overall, I think it's going to be enough power for most people. And the entire experience is basically buttery smooth. I mean, this V6 doesn't quite have the same kind of burly sounds that the old V8 had. However, I like the sound that it makes. It actually has kind of like a fake sound that it's being pumped in through the speakers. And it almost tries to sound like a V8. So, you know, if you're going to do a fake sound, it has to sound good. So I'm okay with the fact that it is, you know, a generated sound, but you know, overall, I think most people are going to get into this, especially if you're coming from your old LX or your old Land Cruiser. It's going to feel very, very familiar. Now, speaking of familiar, this is still riding on a body-on-frame chassis. It's their latest TNGA-F architecture. And I have to say, This is the same platform that underpins the Tundra, and in this car, or in this SUV, it just feels extra smooth. The ride quality is so cushy. My tester has the hydraulic adaptive suspension, so you can raise and lower it with the touch of a button, and it also has the 22-inch wheels. It just soaks up those road imperfections with ease. It just feels like you're riding on a cloud. This car feels like a tank. It feels like you can basically take it anywhere. You can run over things, you can run over curbs, although with the 22-inch wheels, you might want to be careful on hitting those potholes and hitting those curbs. But you can get an 18-inch wheel if you'd like, and then put my foot down here, you can feel that 10-speed is just the perfect partner. It keeps the engine boiling in the meat of its power band, and there's just so much mid-range torque. And again, that's with it driving around in Sport Plus. The beauty about this car is it's so comfortable that you can drive it around in Sport Plus, and it's not too overly harsh. It's not too overly energetic. Switch the drive mode back into normal here, and you'll notice the steering gets artificially lighter, but it doesn't really add much in terms of heft in Sport Plus. That's really the only thing that it affects is the throttle tip-in response and the steering response when you switch it between the drive modes. There's like a total of 6 different drive modes, I believe, but I mean, overall, out on the road, you still get a sense that this is, again, a body-on-frame vehicle, but it also has gotten so much more refined over the years. And even though this car is like a little over 200 inches long, it's relatively easy to drive. You do have to get used to how wide it is. It also sits up really high. You have this really great commanding view of the road. So again, if you're coming from something like a Range Rover or an Escalade or a Yukon Denali, this is going to feel pretty similar in terms of the size and handling dynamics. It's definitely not sporty. You don't buy a vehicle like this to be sporty. The suspension is very soft and floaty. The steering doesn't really transmit much in terms of feedback. And then if you wanted to go off-roading in this vehicle, you can. I would recommend going with the 18-inch wheels for that extra sidewall protection. But you should know that the front fascia on this car, the rear overhang, is going to be a little bit, kind of intrusive when you're actually doing some serious off-roading. You can raise and lower the suspension. I have it in normal mode right now, which gives you a little under 9 inches of ground clearance. I think it's a little over 11 when you have it raised up in its highest setting, but you can't drive at high speeds when it's in its highest setting. But overall, the seats are also incredibly comfortable. This is the white peppercorn semi-aniline full leather interior. I wish the seats offered a massage function. You can get a massaging seat if you go for the ultra luxury, but only in the back seats of this vehicle. You can't get it with the front seats, at least not for now. But these are, again, one of the most plush seats that I've ever sat in. They're heated and ventilated, and the heat and ventilation controls really work really well. I have a heads-up display. I have a 7-inch display over here. I have the 2 displays over here, which some of you have said looks a little bit dated, but this screen here at the very top is very modern. This screen here is something that the Middle East really wanted. That's why Lexus put in a separate screen to control your different car functions, your climate control, some settings. And in terms of fuel economy, this vehicle, in my week's further testing, was averaging around 17 mpg in mixed driving. Now on the highway, if you kept the speeds below 70 miles an hour, you could get up to 23 mpg. That's what I was able to get. When my speeds increased to over 75, 80 miles an hour, the fuel economy did drop to around 20 mpg. That's on premium gas. You're looking at around 400-ish miles of range. On a full tank, because this vehicle's fuel tank isn't quite as big as some of its competitors, I suspect the hybrid version, whenever it comes out, will obviously improve on that. Hopefully it'll improve the range a little bit further. But overall, the LX is still, a really fine driving automobile. It just feels solid. It feels well made. It feels like it's a tank that you could basically drive this for years and years to come with very little issues. And that's kind of the beauty of this car. And it's still one of the most buttery smooth vehicles out there in terms of the ride, in terms of the steering, in terms of the engine. Again, with everything going electric, there's just something about this where, Lexus really shows that they can still do a really smooth car, a smooth internal combustion engine. And with the company eventually going fully electric at some point, although Lexus is kind of doing a combination of hybrids and plug-in hybrids and full electric. This current generation LX, for me, is still one of the better driving vehicles. It's great for those of you who are trading in your old LX. If you plan to use this more as a family vehicle, some competitors offer way more space, but overall, it's hard to argue with the complete package of the LX. It just feels incredibly well done. So after spending a full week with the flagship luxury SUV in the Lexus North American portfolio, I have to say, even though there's a lot of things on paper that kind of makes you think, why should I buy this Lexus LX over more practical vehicles or more spacious vehicles or more capable vehicles or quicker vehicles? Driving this vehicle for a week will really show the strengths of the Lexus LX because this is one of the few vehicles out there that continues to feel like a tank. A lot of luxury vehicles feel like throwaway cars where you can drive them around for 3 years or 4 years while it's still under warranty. However, once the warranty rolls out, you'll be running away quickly because there's so many different electronics, so many different things that are going to break that's going to cost a ton of money to fix or repair or maintain. And this is where the Lexus LX really continues to shine because people who buy these types of vehicles tend to keep them for a long time. That's exactly the kind of owner who buys the Lexus LX or the old Series 200 Toyota Land Cruiser. So after spending the week driving this vehicle, all the strengths there from the original LX and Land Cruiser are there. This car still has that tank-like, truck-like feel that feels extremely durable and well made. These seats are some of the most plushest seats I've ever tested. The ride quality is extremely comfortable. The twin-turbo V6 obviously replaces the V8, but it delivers better acceleration, better fuel economy, and still similar amounts of buttery smoothness that you expect from a Lexus powertrain. The interior tech features of this car, while you do have the newest Lexus infotainment system, I still am a little annoyed that you don't get a fully digital instrument cluster. The secondary screen where you can control other functions and climate functions seems like it's not necessary, but at the same time, I kind of appreciate it being there after spending a week with it because it gives you another level of control where you don't have to deal with too many buttons on the actual dashboard. The third row is pretty useless. The cargo area within the third row is up is also useless, but if you fold down the third row and use it as a 5-passenger vehicle, this will offer plenty of practicality, which again is something that Range Rover owners tend to do because you don't really necessarily buy a Range Rover for third row space. People buy an Escalade or a Yukon Denali if you need the third row space. But really, if you're looking to purchase the Lexus LX, it's going to cost you a pretty penny, and that's kind of the way it's always been. However, if you do buy this vehicle, you can plan to keep it for a long time because you're going to have to shell out at least $92,000 for the base Lexus LX. Thankfully, it comes standard with full-time four-wheel drive and that twin-turbo V6. Now, my tester here being the luxury trim starts at around $105,000, add around $1,300 for the appearance package, $1,300 for the adjustable suspension, and $2,200 for the rear seat entertainment package. All in, this model here is around $112,000. Me, personally, I would skip the rear seat entertainment package, just get your kids an iPad and pay around $109,000 for this, which I know it's a lot of money, but keep in mind, basically the Escalade, the Range Rover, the Mercedes, the BMW, they're all gonna cost well over 6 figures as well, and I guarantee you, none of them will last as long as the Lexus LX. They all won't have the same kind of off-road capability. Well, the Range Rover will, but that's really gonna come with an asterisk because most people who have Range Rovers tend to get rid of them when the warranty expires because there's all kinds of different issues electrically and the cost of maintenance is usually through the roof. But with all that said, hope you guys have enjoyed my full overview on the brand new 2023 Lexus LX 600 in the luxury trim. If you're also looking to see the latest cars I'm testing, be sure to follow me on Instagram at redline_reviews, like us on Facebook, and as always guys, please keep subscribing to the Redline Reviews YouTube channel for all the latest reviews. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you all in the next video.